it's hard when you have, let's say, you guys teach one way, and everyone else teach a different way. And you're obviously the smaller percentage, and you're trying to take it all in and reconcile it with what the church teaches, and well, look what this theologian teaches. Well, this saint taught the same thing too. If I'm wrong, then that saint's wrong, and if I'm going to hell for what I believe, then they're in hell too, and they can't be because they're a saint. And so I guess in my mind, I come up with this term called a theological opinion, where people disagree, and it's in this non-heretical arena that allows people to have difference in theological opinions because these issues maybe haven't been settled by the solemn, extraordinary magisterium of the Catholic Church. I know that the Church is defined. Outside the Church, there is no salvation. I know that they have defined that every human creature for salvation must be subject.
Well, but every heretic says that. Every heretic.
Yeah, I know they do. I know they do, brother.
So what you mean by that is of crucial importance, and so it's something where it's not just a matter of theological opinion, that it becomes heresy. Even the explicit baptisms are, strictly speaking, heretical. It's just like some of the finer points about the Incarnation and the Trinity. People can be wrong in good faith on them, but when they're taken to a certain extent where they contradict other truths, then they become heretical. And so the idea that people like Fenton's idea is heretical, that you can be inside the church without being a member, that's heretical. And
did he condemn that in his work?
No, he promoted it.
I thought he condemned it.
No,
maybe I'm wrong.
He tried to find a way to get unbaptized people in the church, And so he admitted that you can only become a member of the church through water baptism, because Pope Pius XII says that in Mystici Corporis. He says only those are to be considered as members of the church who have received the laver of regeneration and profess the true faith. So basically,
why do they quote Mystici Corpus Christi in defense of baptism of desire?
Well, because they quote a portion of where he says that non-Catholics can be ordained toward the church through an unknowing desire resolution. He doesn't say they're united or part. He just says that people can be ordained toward or disposed toward. That's all he says. And so heretics wanting to jump at anything, they pervert that and say, see, he's saying that people who are not Catholic can be united to the church.
So what you're saying is what these people do is they start with a premise, what they believe, and then they go through and proof text all this stuff, and they find anything that they can find to support what they think is a theological or a truth. So if I believe that, the sky is black, I'll go through every church document, every papal bull, every encyclical I can find, and anything that alludes to that fact, that goes on my piece of paper, and there's my refutation.
Yeah, even if it doesn't meet the level of infallible authority or anything, it doesn't prove their point, they'll throw it in there. Right. And so it's just like the evolutionist who sees any kind of fossil that he thinks he can twist, he'll use it. And so even though when you examine it, it proves nothing, it's just a complete hoax, it proves nothing. And so the bottom line is, he did not say, what was he thinking when he wrote that? I don't know, that's irrelevant. What does he say? He says that people can be disposed toward the church through an unknowing desire resolution.
Is Mystici Corpus Christi does it rise to the level of infallibility?
It doesn't rise to the level of a solemn magisterium. I would say that parts in it would rise to the level of the ordinary and universal magisterium, where he's clearly enunciating the universal faith of the church, such as that the church has always held this. And what's interesting about that is, he's clear that no man is saved without water baptism. No man is a member of the church without water baptism. And what's ironic is, if you look at the papal magisterium or the papal office, and you say, what evidence is there for baptism of desire? The only thing that can be cited are these two letters from Innocent II and Innocent III. Innocent III is clearly not infallible. It's a letter to the Bishop of Metz, and we already covered that, about he also made the same error on circumcision. And the other one, they don't even know who wrote it. They attribute it to Innocent II, but they don't even know. It says that right in Denzinger. Date is unknown, author is unknown. Well, that's strong evidence. This is what they bring forward. This is the evidence, quote from and also a speech that Pius XII gave, okay, a speech where he says that infants cannot have a baptism of desire, but adults can. And so he was just wrong. He also taught NFP. He also taught that the magisterium had never contradicted theistic evolution. Pius XII was a weak pope. And so that's the evidence. Whereas we have dogmatic definitions from the Council of Florence, all kinds of things from the Council of Trent. See, if baptism of desire were true, it would have been taught, okay, in a dogmatic definition. There's so many dogmas that are involved. Church membership, church unity, okay, water baptism, the sacraments. All these things are involved, and they have to be explained. How is this compatible?
Right.
And it never is. Here's another thing.
I never thought of it that way.
Well, see, that's the thing, that a person should, because the dogmas should be the thing that really says, wait a second, that's the definitive word. If a person's attracted to all this other stuff, and they're saying, wow, I want to cling to that, there's a problem.
Let me ask you a question on exactly what you said. You say that for when a person becomes Catholic, the first thing he needs to know and understand are exactly what the Church clearly teaches dogmatically, correct?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, you didn't say that. Are you implying that? Let's say someone has just converted to the Catholic faith. What would you say would be the first thing that this man needs to obtain should he go through and read all the councils and try to figure out his faith then? Where does he go to learn the faith?
Well, first of all, in order to become a member of the Church, he would have to be baptized and believe at the bare minimum in the Trinity and the Incarnation, and the papacy also is necessary in terms of as soon as if he were to reject it in any way, he would become a schismatic or heretic. But he would start to research more about the Catholic faith and the Catholic Church and the papal office, and he would learn more and more as he went along. Okay, and he could be mistaken in good faith about certain issues. Okay, so that's all beside the point, though. The point is not whether someone can be.
But you can see how one could absolutely, in good faith, fall into this error by the what he has. If a guy becomes Catholic, and the first thing that he does is become baptized, believe in the Trinity, the Incarnation, and he says, what do I need? I need a catechism. So he opens his catechism and he starts reading it, and it obviously teaches baptism of desire in it. And he realizes that there's no salvation. He realizes the dogmas, but he still has this concessional teaching in there. You can see how one could get.
Well, yeah, but once he sees all the evidence, for instance, that we bring forward from the Council of Florence, the Council of Trent, etc.
I have seen it all. That's why, you guys your arguments are rock solid. The only concession I made was that it was plausible for a catechumen, for Christ to supply him with justification on some sort of a rare outside opportunity of that happening to, I guess, maybe give a concession to all this other evidence that I've seen. And I thought maybe I'm missing something theologically here that I don't know about. I've read that, the annotations of Bibles, them are, they may not be the level of dogmatic, but I know that they're, up there as far as...
No, they're not.
It's not temerious or a mortal sin for us not to believe them?
Not at all.
Not at all.
No.
Oh, I guess I was wrong there.
Then you should be following the imprimatur works of the Vatican II Church.
Well,
why do you pick and choose the
I'm not trying to pick and choose.
No, but on what basis do you not accept the Vatican II hierarchy? And it's
because they clearly. I'll be honest with you. Why did I first do this? Because I was teaching catechism in a Vatican II church, and they would let me teach anything but Catholicism. I was not allowed, after so long, I could not teach any Catholic doctrine. And to me, that was enough. And then I happened to stumble across your stuff, and, I didn't know what a dogma was. I didn't know what dogmatic teachings were. I didn't know. I knew what my mom throughout my life said Vatican II is wrong, but I didn't know it was what an ecumenical council of the
Right, yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, I mean, but my point is that you're now convinced that the Vatican II Church is not Catholic.
Right.
On what basis do you reject their theologians, their annotations, their imprimatur works? Why do you not just follow what they're saying?
Because I don't believe that it's the right magisterium backing up what they're saying. It's not the right...
But if the magisterium speaks through, what the approved theologians by Rome and what they're teaching us about the dogmas, then they're saying this is not a rupture, but it's just a development, a proper interpretation, a proper understanding of the actual dogmas, and you don't go by the dogmas, you go by what the approved authorities say. Why do you not submit yourself to that? See, can you not see there's a contradiction?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so basically that's the point, that all these quotes, these sedevacantists who love baptism and Zara, who think they're following approved theologians before Vatican II, and say, well, they give us the proper understanding of the dogmas. No, sorry, according to that, then you should accept the Vatican II Church.